Hey, Wall Street winners. It is Friday, March 22nd. And as you can see on the screen, the majority of the futures, Dow Jones, S&P 500, and NASDAQ are all in the red. About 10 to 15 minutes ago, the NASDAQ was down 61 and 0.35%. Now it's down 0.17 and 31. So it seems to be coming back a little bit, as do the others. So we'll see whether we get to green on the screen at open or not. We're probably going to be in the red, but it's looking like it's going to turn green shortly after the open. For the general indexes. Now, if we go over to the individual stocks. So yesterday was an interesting day. Yesterday we had the earnings on Wednesday evening, which drove up the price of Micron Technologies, MU, significantly because they had better than expected earnings. We also had the IPO of Reddit. Now, here's a company that was valued or priced at, not valued, I'm going to say, but priced at $34. Value's arbitrary. Priced at $34 a share, which was under the 38 that people were thinking it might come out at, but higher than the 20 something that others were thinking it would come out at. So that's what the investment banks and the Reddit folks settled on, is $34. It opened and it pretty much started to climb, and it went up significantly up to the mid $55 range, and then I think it settled down in around the about 50 or 49. Let's have a look here at Micron. I don't follow that. Well, that's interesting. That is, sorry, I'm thinking of Reddit, not Micron here. I'm talking about one thing and typing in another. My apologies. So I do follow Reddit. I just added it to the list. RDDT, and yeah, it finished at 50.44. Micron there finished up in the low hundreds. So that was yesterday. I don't see any substance whatsoever in Reddit. This is a company that makes most of its revenue off of advertising on its platform. It has, I think, about 70 to 80 million users, ballpark. And if you look at the price ratios on this that value it, you're using a similar multiple to that of Facebook, which has billions of users and generates way more revenue and has way more data on those users. So the question for me is, for Reddit to really continue to go up, how is it going to grow its user base from, let's say, under 100 million, where it's at now, up to, first of all, maybe 100, then 200, then 400, then 800, and finally into the billions of users. And if it does that, it's likely going to be a successful organization. If it doesn't, I think it's going to fall short, and it's going to be like a Snap, which went up to $75 and then crashed down to like $10 or $7 in that range. Like, it dropped significantly, a multiple of almost 90 times, right? So, or 9 times, 10 times. So there you have it. Anyway, I'm not a big believer in Reddit, as you can tell from what I'm talking about here, but I invest based on your own research and assumptions. What I do like today is oil. I think long term, I've kind of pivoted on oil based on some of the things that I've been reading in terms of Russian oil production. There's always some risk in oil because you never know when foreign entities are going to come on board and make decisions that are way out of your control and certainly out of your knowledge. And those decisions have to do with increases in production. So whether Saudi Arabia is going to increase production, OPEC is going to increase production, Russia is going to come online. So all of that is part of that risk portfolio. But if you do get into a stock that has strong fundamentals, maybe pays a good dividend if that's what you're looking for, and is on an upward trajectory, I think you're going to be fine. So I do still think some of the oil stocks are set to have a bit of a pullback because they are at their all-time highs. I mean, if you've been riding the Valero ride, which has been phenomenal, you would have gone from the 120s to 171 at this point. So that's an exceptional ride. Exxon has been as low as the high 90s 90s and as high as the low 120s. So right now it's started to climb. A week or two ago it was 101, 103. Now it's at 113, approaching 114. It's probably going to get up to the 118, 120 range. And I would probably look to exit and take some profits and wait for it to pull back, because when you look at this, and this is an interesting one right here where it dropped significantly and then bounced back up. But if you look at this over a 1-year chart, you can see that it's quite volatile, and it has gotten up in, say, the September area here to the 120s. But then it's come down significantly. So it has these peaks, and those peaks are the time when I would exit and sell, and then I would wait and buy back on the dips. And that's my strategy, because if you bought anywhere here and held, you're probably underwater for the most part, unless you timed it really well. Now, the other way to do this from an investment perspective is just put in the same amount of money every month into the stock and dollar cost average your way in. That way you will buy at some highs, but you'll also buy at a number of lows. And in the end, you'll probably be ahead. But I'm not a fan. I did participate in that strategy early on in my investing career, and it worked out well. But it's not something that I do now, because I like to participate and try to participate at least in the upside, and then sell and then wait for it to go back on sale. It's like shopping at the mall, is what I tell my kids and my nieces and nephews. If you can buy something on sale and then you, this doesn't work obviously at the mall, but if you were to buy it on sale and it goes up in price, you return it, you get the higher price. I know that's not how it works at the mall, but that's kind of the concept here. Or if you buy something at a high price at the mall or like a Costco, and you see it goes on sale, within a number of days, they'll honor that price decrease. So then you get it at the lower price. I mean, if the stock market worked like that, somebody in the end would be losing, because they'd be having to cover everything. It doesn't work like that, but that's how I think about it, is buying things on sale and then selling them when they go up in price. So look for things that are underappreciated, undervalued at the time, and then sell them when the market is very interested in them. So you basically buy them when there's less interest or people are moving money into other stocks, and then you sell it when people want to move money into those stocks or that company specifically. So Reddit's off about $2 today. Not surprised that it's coming back, because it's way overpriced. I called Palo Alto right yesterday. It was at I think 284 when it opened, dropped down to 281 and change, and I said it would get up to 289. Well, it got up to 287, so pretty darn close, and it was a nice little $5.50 profit there. What is also an interesting move here, Microsoft hit, I believe, an all-time high yesterday, so it's likely to come back a little bit. And then Google was off yesterday. So I thought, because everything else in the market was going up yesterday and Google was not, it would be a good time to buy some Google. So I bought into some Google at about the price that it closed at there. I bought it earlier in the day, so I saw it go down for a bit of the afternoon, and then it came back up to just about where I bought it at yesterday. I'm still off about 10 cents. And now it looks like it's going to be up pre-market. So if it opens up, I'm going to take my profits and run on that one, and then buy back in on another dip. Google has corrected a little bit. I think it was up at 519, 520. It's come down to 511. I still think that's a strong bet. And as it pulls back even more, if this goes down into the low 500s or even into the 400s, it dipped down to 490 after earnings, I would grab that if you're looking for a long-term hold. I think it's a solid purchase. And then with the announcement yesterday this week, of the Fed holding interest rates, at least in the US for now, and not moving them, what you can see is the financials did very well for the most part. Goldman did the best, up $17 yesterday. That was a bit of a surprise, but maybe it's based on the IPOs that have come out this week. We had 2 tech IPOs, Reddit and another. They both did very well, and obviously investment banking is a big part of the business for Goldman. So if we see an uptick in that, we're likely to see Goldman shoot higher. I am, though, expecting still a pullback in financials, so I am not getting into this space at this point. I read a report this morning that said that a couple months ago, 25% of fund managers or money managers, analysts were thinking that there was going to be an issue that was potentially systemic to the financial system based on commercial mortgage paper coming due this year. That percentage has gone from 25% to 40%. And again, based on the number of votes, 19 in the Federal Reserve, going into deciding about interest rate hikes, being 9 to 10 on whether to raise or not, I am of the opinion that we are not going to, sorry, not to, whether to cut or not. We're going to see that cuts will be postponed if they even happen this year. I do expect they'll happen because it is a election year in the US. So I think we'll have a few prior to the election, but I wouldn't be surprised if inflation doesn't come down, that we may see an actual rate increase this year. That is not off the table from my perspective. So I'm staying away from financials because I think there's going to be a significant pullback. I expect to be able to buy MTB later this year in the 120 range, not 145. And I expect to buy JP Morgan in the 170 range as opposed to 199, 200. And I'm going to get back into Goldman if it goes down to the 340 to 360 range. So that's kind of what I'm looking for. And that's where we stand today. So good luck with your trades, and I wish you all the best. If you're loving these videos, leave a comment. Tell me what you want to hear about. Subscribe to the channel. Tell a friend that wants to learn more about investing, and I'd love to be a part of that journey that you're taking.